Hey, I need to actually start using this channel. So today I'm going to talk about Pathfinder Society. Alright, so I first started playing in Pathfinder Society at the tail end of 2018. Literally the last week. And actually, I feel like the story of how I started was super funny. So there's like a ball of reasons that I got into it. Number one was I had been listening to this one this one self-help book. Was it the 5 Seconds one? I need to look up which book that was. It was Stop Saying You're Fine by Mel Robbins. But I will look it up. I will look it up and I will put it in the description what book I was listening to because I have it on Audible. And I already got that taken care of, so let's move on. I've always had a thing for theater. I loved theater. The few chances that I got to have a theater outlet in my life, I absolutely relished. So as I was listening to the book, it made no sense for me to, it's like I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I get the idea that I want to do theater, and I want to do a theater outlet. Well, the closest thing I could think of was Dungeons and Dragons, because, you create a character, you act out the character. I figured GMing wouldn't be a stretch for me, so that was part of it. Another part of it was I had insane social anxiety, but I didn't really notice it or address it because as a stay-at-home mom, I didn't really go out a whole lot and do stuff, so I didn't interact with people a ton, but I started noticing a pattern of when I did, it was very limited, and I was scared to go outside of my comfort zone. So, part of it was the theater, part of it was I needed to address some social anxiety, which turned out to be a lot more severe than I had initially guessed. And, yeah, that was most of it. So I made the decision to get started. I actually made the decision to go ahead and get started in tabletop roleplay. The only thing that I knew of was Dungeons and Dragons. Well, the only Dungeons and Dragons place that played regularly that was a public game was on Wednesday nights. I got church Wednesday nights, so that's not gonna work. So I was a little bummed because that was the only game I could find. I had no friends who played, and then at one point it just kind of caught on me, wait a minute, isn't Pathfinder Society isn't Pathfinder like the same thing? So there was a Pathfinder Society game in my area I was looking on a Friday, and it turns out, oh, Friday nights are Pathfinder Society nights. Maybe I could go. And that's where I really started. That's where the social anxiety became just plain as day, because I wanted to go, but I was equally terrified of going. I remember it's like, okay, I know when it starts and I'm gonna go, and I kept procrastinating, and I was terrified, and I had to push myself out the door, and I was late. And I knew I was gonna show up late, and I felt bad about it. But it's like, okay, you know what? This is a new thing. I don't know these people. You know what? This works out perfect. I'm just going to show up, and the game will already be going, and I can just kind of look at it and see what it looks like. And then then I'll come back next week. Then I'll feel more comfortable with it. And that actually made me kind of feel better. It's like, okay, I don't have to get into it right away. Little did I know. So I get to the game. I can't remember offhand how late it was. It wasn't that late, but I show up there at the gaming. It was held at a gaming store, and I say, hey, is there a Pathfinder game? And the person at the counter directs me to this table where there's 3 other guys. They're like, hey, we need another person to actually play. So they had been waiting for someone else to show up and play. So had I actually gotten in gear beforehand, that would have been helpful. But on top of that, I had actually looked up the group on Facebook, the local Pathfinder Society group on Facebook, and I had joined it, and so they were wondering if I was going to show up. So I showed up. I have no idea what I'm doing, and they're like, that's okay, we'll get you started. Here's a book of pre-generated characters. Go ahead and pick one. We'll walk you through it. They were so friendly, and so just ready to teach. And of course, like, I really couldn't back out at this point. And so it's like, okay, sure, I'll dive into it. I pick out the half-elven, rogue pre-gen, whose name escapes me. It's midnight, so there's a couple things that are escaping me. I need my Axio. Was not originally planning to do this, but I'm trying to actually utilize my YouTube channel. But at any rate, so ended up playing, had a blast, ended up coming back the next week, had a blast again, ended up creating a character that I was so sure, I was so certain. I, read up, about gaming and tabletop games, and it's just such a normal thing for characters to die. It's like, oh, I had this character and it got killed, and so it's okay, you know what? I don't want to put my heart into this character, so I'm just going to create like this random character that I'm not going to care about. And, that way, if I really screw up and she dies, okay, not a big deal. I can start over, and when I know what I'm doing, then, I'll create a character that I actually like. What's hilarious is she is now my highest level character, and she amazingly never died. And I've actually really gotten to like her. She is a halfling bard. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I really appreciate that I have such an amazing group, and I definitely encourage that other people should check out the groups in their area if you're looking to get into tabletop role-playing games. I think this is absolutely a fantastic way to start. So if you've watched this whole thing, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new. If you have any questions about starting up in Pathfinder Society, I suppose drop it down in the comments, and considering this is my only video, I will probably see it. Oh, hope you have it is currently now 12:30 on Saturday morning, the 20th, so I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and yeah, hope you have a fantastic weekend. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.